Hello and welcome to episode 4 of the Point 99 podcast, a running podcast dreamed up by runners for runners. If you're new to running, we hope to have topics and discussions that will help you along whatever path your journey is taking. Or for seasoned runners listening, maybe some stories that will have you empathizing with our experience and predicaments. Whether it's lessons we've learned during our own journeys, embarrassing stories, or heartstring pulling moments, we hope you'll stick with us and hopefully have a laugh along the way, sharing good vibes, motivation and positivity as we go. But after what feels like an eternity since we last recorded episode 3, we're back at it and ready to hit the start line head on. But with we being the operative word, we're a two-man show, joined as always by the London lad himself, Runnerman Steve.
Hello, mate. How you doing?
Oh man, I am really good. I'm so refreshed.
Are you refreshed in the snow, having had about 2 weeks of intense heat?
Oh, don't. Literally, we got the chat in the last few days of the holiday from Canadians saying, oh, there's no snow over at us, but we hear you're going to get snow, and there was nothing. It was just cold. All the weather forecast updates we were getting, it was cold. It's like 28 degrees over in Dominican. We get home, 6 degrees in Gatwick, not too bad. Fly up from Gatwick later in the day. We land and it starts snowing. And then whole of yesterday, snow all day. So we had about an inch or two this morning. It's all fairly disappeared now, but man, I mean, you can't have the two different extremes.
Oh, mate, that just sounds like a recipe for illness. I mean, I'd get annoyed. I get annoyed when someone turns the heating on and off, and I'm like, "What are you doing? I'm going to get ill over here. You've just come back from Dominican."
Not just that, 4 flights as well. 4 flights of people sniffing and coughing and all sorts. Yeah.
I didn't know what was going to come out there.
Yeah, 4 flights. Luckily, they all went fairly well. We had one issue where we had to get a different airline had to step in, but they're owned by TUI, so it's North Atlantic Airways, and they were fantastic. But other than that, the flights were great. Just can't really say anything too much about the holiday other than I am so glad I had it.
It looked amazing. My brother's been to a Dominican for a wedding, and it's definitely somewhere I'd want to go one day. It doesn't look so nice.
Yeah, it's spot on. That's our second time. We went 9 years ago to the exact same hotel, and it's changed a little bit. It's modernized, and it's got way more a la carte restaurants. It's a lot busier, but the entertainment, the food, just the whole 5-star adults only, all inclusive nature of it was spot on.
So you're nice and refreshed, ready for your half marathon next week, right? Or is it this week?
It's this weekend.
Nice. Going for a time, or you're just going to go for the vibes?
I'm in two minds now because today, anyone today, or it's timestamps when we're recording it, but everyone knows from our socials we're recording on Tuesday. I just got a PB in my 10K. I took 2 minutes 40 off my 10K. So it went from a 28. Not a 28, a 48, 48.22 to a 45.36.
Very nice.
So yeah, ready for the weekend, but I don't know. I'd like to think I could push my PB in my half because I'm wearing the new Hokas. That was today's new shoe to get on. I think they're the Rincon. I want to say Rincon 3s. But at the same time, I want to run the half in the kilt just for funsies. So I don't think I'm pushing a PB in the kilt.
Go for it. Why not?
I know. Pushing a marathon PB in the kilt is a different thing.
I'll be that devil on the shoulder. Just like standing there rubbing the beard, go for it. Go on.
Just to slow me down. So no, how's things been with you?
Yeah, you know what? It's I'm on week 10. I can't believe I'm on week 10 already. It's actually is ridiculous. So last week was a 40-mile week. Supposed to be 42, but I dropped a couple of the miles because of the school run, and I'd much rather drop 1 mile off a couple of runs and stick to the prescribed easy effort run. I weren't going to compromise, a recovery run for the fact of just getting 1 mile in. I'm not going to lose much by those couple of miles. So I'm in good place. I had a sports massage on my deload week, which was an experience, but I actually really enjoyed it. I think next time I'm going to ask him for a bit more pressure, to be fair. um, it felt really, really good. And I think that week I was supposed to go and try the sub 25K at a park run, but due to even taking my daughter to the doctors and whatnot, I just put that to the side, and I'll try that maybe in a different week, or even if it's after the marathon, that could be the next sort of task then. So yes, it's going really well. Got a 20 miler this Saturday, and then a 22 mile the week after. So I've sort of adjusted a training plan. Ordinarily, I'd have 2 speed sessions, a tempo and a threshold, but during these next couple of weeks, in the peak time, I'm only going to do 1 full-on speed session, and the others can either be sort of easy to mid pace, just to get that good recovery. And because the mileage is so high, I just want to make sure the recovery is done properly, you know.
Yeah, that's full on. You must have at least you've got deload week before the week before, but have you got another deload week before then?
I have. Let me get the app open.
That must be if you've got a heavy week this week and next week. It must be the week after.
Yeah. So last week was supposed to be 42 miles. This week is 47. Next week is 49. And then week 12 drops down to 26.
Yeah.
Then I've got one more 47. It starts dropping down from after week 13. So week 14, 15 is when the taper down starts, really.
You're gonna blink and that's gonna be gone.
It has already. I mean, I can't believe I'm like half more now. I've got a gym session tomorrow, so I'm actually halfway down week 10 already. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, but it's good. It's good in one respect that you're getting nearer the target, so you're going to be less tired all the time. You're going to be less hungry all the time. And the only reason I'm saying that, I've just listened to Ryan, the press play, and Run's last podcast, and he's in I think it's week 3 or 4 of his Edinburgh Marathon training. And that's what he's saying. He's already just starving all the time. He's just so tired. So you're over halfway. You'll be looking forward to getting over that finish line.
When I was listening to that, I was like, I know how you feel, because honestly, when my daughter's when I'm making my daughter's food, I'm eating some of that. When I'm eating my dinner, I'm waking up early in the morning for work. I'm starving. I'm eating like 2 or 3 breakfasts at work, a lunch, and all sorts. It's honestly ridiculous.
But as long as it's all good stuff, though, and it's not hollow carbs. I found I was eating a lot of peanut butter and wholemeal bread.
I can't say it's all good stuff. Honestly, but no, it's going really well. My Garmin watch actually is telling me that my race prediction for the marathon is 3:25:06. So training's going well. This hopefully, touch wood, I can continue and remain injury free, and just playing it very, very smart, and sort of cruising parts of the week through, get that good speed session and get some marathon pace in there. And today's run was really good, actually. It was 9 miles, 1 mile warm up, 3 miles at around about 7 minutes 30, 7 minutes 15-ish a mile, and then 3 miles at marathon pace, about 8 minutes, and then 2 miles warm down, and that's it. Cool down. Happy days. And I've got a local legend, another one back. Thank you very much.
I don't think we actually discussed the local legends chat. Now, there's a guy called Lewis Dixon. I don't know if you follow him. That's not his full handle, but he had a route that he was running, I think, to work every day in the centre of London. And he had this guy who had the local legend of one of the sections had like some insane amount within the last 30 days. So Lewis put a poll up. He said, should I try and take it? It meant he had to run that section like 40 times in one day or something insane. And the poll said, yeah, go for it. And the boy smashed it. It's just like, I have a few local legends, but nothing as insane as that.
Yeah, it just popped up as like, you are a local legend, which is crazy to me in a place it happened, because I see the same faces run all the time there. Yeah. So I said, I guess I was thinking to myself, well, I must be the only one training for a marathon, because I'm doing laps upon laps. I think it's a 1.2 mile circuit. That's just going round and round and round and round.
Yeah, so it's spot on for you. Actually, I think I know where it is, because I see your Strava, so I know which part you're going around in loops.
It is a good loop. I mean, sometimes it can depends on what time of day you go around there. There's a local secondary school because it's literally across the road. They go over there
Oh,
and do their PE sessions over there sometimes. So sometimes you've got to alter the route. So thanks to that school. I mean, I could have had my local legend a lot sooner than that.
I tell you now you've actually just said secondary schools. This is from today's run. I was, as you might expect, on a high after I finished and got the PB, and I was coming past our local secondary school, and the kids had just been out for their lunch, and I'm walking back over the bridge that they have to go over, and here's this wee guy and this lassie. They couldn't have been any more like what ours are. Fourth or fifth year, I think for you that is like 10th year, 11th, whatever the equivalent is. And the wee boy says to me, "She fancies you," and she was mortified. I could not stop laughing. I thought, this is hilarious. I'm old enough to probably be your grandfather. I mean, come on.
Oh, just Joe, what? Yeah, I would not know how to respond to that situation. And I am getting out of here.
Yeah,
Goodbye.
you just have to laugh it off. And she was mortified. She's like, "No, I don't." I'm like, "Oh, come on." Just because maybe that's my own fault, wearing short shorts. And I didn't have a vest on today, thankfully, because that could have been really, really bad walking past the secondary school. Oh, come on. No, worth not thinking about.
Yeah, no.
Anyway.
Swiftly moving on.
Yeah. Well, so move on. And I was actually going to ask you about your 5K effort, but yeah, we had a discussion about that, and another day will come. There's always more efforts for that, and again, with my effort today, I'm going to try and push it as well. So maybe we can coordinate a day where we both go to our local park runs and see what we can do, smash it out.
What's your current 5K?
My current 5K is a 22:07, although
Okay.
Strava picked it up as a 22:14 today because it hadn't picked up one before. But my
Well done,
last park
Strava.
run was a 22. No, 22 was it? Yeah, I think it was a 22:07 is my PB.
Yeah, I think I
Um,
banked so the beginning of this training block, I done a part a social park run. And I've done a PB there. I think that's 21:07.
Maybe we were the same actually. They're just checking. No, mine's is a 22:07, so you're 21:07. Yeah. So maybe we can set up a day because I'm trying to get a sub 22 and you're trying to get a sub 21, sub 20. So we'll
Sub
set up a
20,
day.
yeah.
Yeah, we'll set up a day where we go out, we announce it, and then we'll see who bags our
I'm
target.
going to be that guy that turns up to park run in a pair of carbon plate vapor blowers.
Vest top, small shorts, trying to minimize as much weight as possible. Shave your
Ratings,
head, take the beard
arm
off.
sleeves. No, the beard's not coming off. No way.
Strap it down, then strap it down.
Gaffer tape it down.
Yeah. So we'll set up a day for that. But we're gonna move on to. We've talked about Steve's training and how that's gone, but we're gonna move to one of our followers and someone he shouted out in the last episode before she headed off to the Tokyo Marathon, and that's Hannah, Hannah_runs93, and her Japanese adventure. So she actually did a fantastic time of 5 hours, 3 minutes, and 46 seconds, which is her second fastest marathon and her quickest major so far.
Yeah.
However, it wasn't her target, was it, Steve?
No, she is chasing the magical sub 5 for her. And her training was going really, really well. I spoke to her so many times during her training, like giving her big ups. I was sending voice notes. I was like, "Hey Hannah, it's like midnight where you are in Tokyo, and I'm running around, and you're going to hit sub 5." And I'm trying to give her all the vibes that she could get. And the fact that she got a 5:03 with what went on over there knows that she is actually in sub 5 shape. She was in sub 5 shape. So she can replicate her training for the next one she goes to, because that was her 4th star. So she can replicate that in her next one when she's ready to do it again. Definitely got sub 5. I say she's got a 4:45 or 4:50 in there, because what she had to go through was amateurish for a world major. I mean, I can go into it if you want me to go into it.
No, I was going to echo that and say
Yeah.
100%. Though I think she's easily got a sub 5 in her. The idea of even the amount of travel, the flight, the pressure it has just on your body, And then she was only there for like a day and a half, 2 days, and then running the marathon. It's so hard on her body. She did fantastically she would have been exhausted as well, being a totally different time zone. It takes you a week usually to get over that time difference. So honestly, she did amazingly.
Yeah, she flew out on the Wednesday. I think it's like a 13, 14 hour flight. Then you've got to sort of get used to it. I think she'd done the marathon, and then she was flying out the next day to come back
Yeah.
home again, which is for me is insane. I'd need about 3 years to get over the time difference. I'd be absolutely spent. I mean, I'm bad enough that the best day when I go, yeah, I've got a day off. I'm like, well, who am I? What's my name? Where am I? Don't know what I'm doing. So no, essentially, what happened over there? I sent her a message saying, "Oh, you got 5:03, well done." And she was like, "Didn't go to plan. I finished. That's the main thing. I'll message you later," because she was actually in the medical tent.
Oh
Um,
no.
so no, if effectively, they ran out. The event ran out of water.
Yeah.
Um, she got dehydrated. Sorry, I get my words out really, really quickly. She started to feel sick. She started to be sick. She couldn't stomach her gels because there was no water intake. Um, and the last 10 miles, she doesn't really remember them, but she crossed the line and got it done. And I said, you know what, you are definitely in sub 5 shape.
Oh,
No,
certainly. I mean, that's just super dangerous. And I kind of had heard snippets from other runners and in the news that they run out of water. And I don't think that's the first major to have run out of water. And that was the same marathon that said you couldn't take bottles to the line or water containers yourself. I mean, come
no,
on.
you couldn't run in a hydration vest. I heard you couldn't take a bottle with you. You couldn't have anything at all. And I remember I learned about that because I was listening to the 40 runs
And it was on,
podcast.
yeah, Press Play and
The
Run had
long
it as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was listening to it, and it was like, uh, this is absolutely ridiculous. What you going in for? Chris Fawley he said, well, just take one, almost like a um, one of them little soft flasks and put it in your
Yeah.
flip belt. What are you going to do? Arrest you on a course? And I was thinking they probably would, to be fair, in Tokyo, you know. But yeah, it's amateurish to run out of
Yeah,
water.
you have
It's
to
criminal.
respect the local rules, and they're super clean country. They don't want to have mess or anything, but at the same time, they're endangering people's lives with what they did to get dehydrated. I've seen even in the local half marathon I'm going to be running at the weekend. I've seen people being dehydrated halfway around, and it just comes down to the heat on the day, the humidity. But if she can't remember the last, let's say, what do you say, about 10 miles, 10K, that is so bad. That's so
Yeah,
bad that they even got to that stage. So even more kudos to her for getting so close to her target and having to put up with that as well.
honestly, and yeah, it's if you are going to tell people they can't take water onto a course, then make sure you double order because you are a major. So sort it out.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's we both applaud your efforts, Hannah, because we know that you'll be listening. You did amazingly, and for having only been out in Japan for a few days, you did so much better than either of us would have done. As Steve says, he would have been years to recover. I would have been weeks to even get to
Yes,
that point. I can
I
come
think
on.
when I was 15, I went to America because I won it. I won a holiday to America. And when we flew back, I think I slept for about a day and a half. I was wiped out, honestly. So yeah, no, I've seen, and working in an airport, I've seen, people that have been traveling for like 24 hours across the globe and end up in London, and they're absolutely spent just from traveling. So to do that is, hats off, Hannah, well done.
Yeah, nah. Having just done those two flights on Sunday myself, and that was the first flight was only 7 hours, and then it was first thing in the morning we got back. We flew through the night, couldn't get any sleep on the plane because there was a chap with the light on the whole time round, even though they had light. He was the only guy on the plane.
I will take the light bulb out.
I know. He what makes it worse is he works at Gatwick. He knows the whole aviation stuff. He was quite like a knowledgeable guy. I just didn't have the stones to say to him, "Look, can you turn that off?" He was the only one on the flight with the light on. Didn't get any sleep. But when we got to Gatwick, we had 8 hours before our next flight, so we just got a block hotel, got some
Yeah.
kip, and then back up the road to Inverness, another flight. But Dizzy does not do justice of what my head was doing after that first flight.
Mate, well, yeah, you're dealing with all that after a nice holiday. You think I'm nice and relaxed. You come back, I'm not relaxed at all. Actually.
Yeah, no, you need a holiday to get over the traveling. But no, we'll give a shout out to everyone else. I know so many people that run Tokyo on the feed. It would be like the list would go on forever, and I don't want to miss anyone. But anyone that's listening that ran Tokyo, you're superstars for even like getting over halfway around the world to run a marathon. But in the temperatures and the conditions that they had, I mean, come on, you're superstars, you're legends,
And a small fortune.
and a small fortune. But yeah, the next one we'll be looking forward to is what's it now? Correct me before I say what our next one is. When's London?
London is April 21st, 23rd, St George's Day.
Right. Okay. So we'll shout out the next one that's coming up is Boston, and that is on the 17th of April. I have a very good friend who I'm going to be running with at the Inverness Half Marathon this weekend, Sarah Homer. She's at Sarah_runs. She's hitting Boston after hitting a qualifying time. She's on her kind of final stretch of her training. She's an absolute superstar athlete. She's such a wonderful person as well, and we'll be backing her all the way. So as she gets closer, we'll do some more shout outs, and then hopefully once she's been out there, we'll get her on the show, and we'll find out a little bit of her story and how she got on at Boston, and then it'll be all fingers pointing, eyes, spotlights on Steve and London.
Yeah, it's like hopefully it continues to go well. The fundraising's not going too bad, just over £400 at the moment. The target's about 1,600. So we're going well. You know, crossed 300 miles for the year so far. So yeah,
I'm not jealous. I'm not jealous at all that I didn't really get to run on holiday, and I'm only at 300 kilometers.
Oh yeah, those pina coladas must have bloody hurt you.
I saying on my Instagram post, I was just telling a couple of the girls that I'm running the Loch Ness 24 with that I did lose a day. There's a local shot called Mamawana, which is a series of roots they get these roots, they put in 3 fingers of honey, they put in 3 fingers of red wine, and then they top it all off with rum, and they let it ferment for a minimum of 7 days, and this stuff is deadly. So we had, I think it was our second or third day, we were hitting the beers, the cervezas. My holiday name for the last 2 times in Dominican Republic has been Cerveza Steve, and I live up to that when I'm there because that's my hydration. That's what I'm all about.
Oh yeah.
And then we were hitting mamawanas and whatever cocktails. Now, drink responsibly. That's always going to be the message. But when you're drinking from 10 o'clock in the morning till 11 o'clock at night, I lost the next day. I can't remember the walk back to the hotel room. Little glimpses. It's the worst I've been in a long time. And I got up in the morning and I says to the wife, have we got any paracetamol? And she just threw the box at me and went, look, go to town. Just make yourself feel better.
I've done that. I've done that once in Cyprus. I went to with Mrs. to a wedding in Cyprus. They might listen to this. They don't. It was an awful wedding. I can't lie. It was such a waste of 600 quid.
Oh,
anyway, I know. Yeah, but I didn't really get on with the groom too well. And she said, make an effort. I thought, Joe, all right, I'll make an effort. I got absolutely paralytic.
That was your effort. Your effort was to drink as much as you could.
Well, yeah, and in the end of it, me and the groom were chatting away and singing on to a tribute Michael Bublé act downstairs. Next day was right off. It was Valentine's Day.
It helped you get on.
It did. I couldn't hack it. Next day I was finished off. It was Valentine's Day. I said, don't worry about that.
Right, before we move on though to our main topic, which we put out on socials, on our own and on the page, which is topics and phrases or words that grind your gears in a running context. I'm going to do one final touch on the holiday, just so I don't rub it in and bang on about too much. And then towards the end, we're going to share some of the love that we've been getting for the podcast, because we haven't obviously talked about it since episode 1, because we recorded episode 2 and 3 back to back, and then we haven't really spoken to you since. And then we'll do our community shout outs for those that have been in our inboxes and keeping us going over the time since we last recorded. But Steve doesn't know this story, so it's one of these stories from holiday where you always meet someone. If you're going to talk about running, you meet someone. And I met this other very tall chap, slightly older than I was, a nice Canadian guy called John. And it was towards the end of our holiday. He'd seen that I'd been out running a couple of times, so it kind of instantly got the conversation just as flowing. And yeah, I only ran twice because it was 26 degrees in the morning. But as I say, I took my Hoka 1 Rincon 3s out. They were brand new, hadn't worn them, so I took them out to the tropics to give them a bash. And yeah, he got talking to me. He saw I was wearing them. We got talking away. But yeah, John was he was kind of waxing lyrical about running. He was so enthusiastic, not only about his own adventures, but just shouting people out, and people he knows that are just fantastic runners, and their endeavors as well. And it just goes to show, like, no matter the distance, no matter where you're located, you'll always find someone to have a good old chat with about running. And because Tokyo was on, it's this fella. He's so good. He started running when he was 40, and his fastest marathon's at 2:59. And the marathon before he got his 2:59, he'd said to his wife, "I need these new shoes." And she says, "Why do you need these shoes?" And he says, "Well, they'll help me take about 2 minutes off my personal best." She's like, "You're not getting new shoes. You're not spending all that money just for 2 minutes." So he runs the marathon before he gets his PB, and he hits a 3:01. And she said, what was the time those shoes would take off? He's about 2 minutes. She goes, "You can have the shoes. You can have the shoes." And then, yeah, by God, he got a 2:59 after he's 40, which is phenomenal time. He didn't actually say what age he was when he got that, so he might have been a fair bit older. He might have just been 40. But yeah, with Tokyo just having happened, he was also about to get his major trophy, his running, having run all the majors, and it was the year they added Tokyo. So the poor guy still hasn't got all his 6-star finisher. He's got 5 ready to go, and he needs to do Tokyo. And he's had to have a knee operation, so he's not back up to full fitness. So he's just it's a bit of an endeavor for him. But I mean, come on, after 40, getting 5 stars, having run, I don't know, he said so many marathons, and have that time, and then also be super enthusiastic about just everyone, and finding out about my story as well, and kind of giving me the positivity about what I've gone through and the marathons I've run. It was spot on.
I don't know if I could run a 2:59 at 35. I think that's some going.
I know.
I mean, sometimes you've got to know your lane. I think if I went out that way, I don't know if I'd get to the end, to be fair. But that you shock yourself. Sometimes you get there, and my aim is to try and do a 3:30 to a 3:45, and everything could just click, and you never know. But no, I'm not. I couldn't be doing that. That to when I see people doing 2:50s, 2:40s, Nick Best, I was really hammering for that 2:20, and he's like, I said, that's some going. That is. And I mean, machine. You're talking 100-mile weeks.
Yeah, and especially in some of the locations. I think he got it at one of the majors. And most of the majors are in really humid, well-packed cities. I mean, that is an undertaking and a half.
Absolutely.
But no, he tried to get me to go running with him. He was running barefoot on the beach. I'm like, nah, that's just going to kill my calves. And then he's like, well, put your shoes on. He was a massive Asics fan, and he had like 700 kilometers on his Asics. He was going to leave them at the hotel, and they were really good condition, so he was going to donate them to a member of staff. But he's like, "Oh, we'll run off site." Like, what? He's like, "No, I do it all the time. I come here all the time. I run off site." He says, "You just got to keep your head down if you see a drugs deal going south." He's just like, "All right, guys," and run past. I'm like, "You're not selling this to me, mate."
Sounds like an all day in London.
But at least because the shoes are tied together, hanging off the local lamppost, aren't they?
Oh, I don't think they do it anymore.
They don't do it
Um,
anymore. No, how do you know
I've
then?
I've not I've not actually seen a pair of shoelaces hanging from a telephone line in a long time. The kids,
Oh,
the new generation.
the new generation. They're just texting each other, aren't they? That's how you know. They're on WhatsApp and all the
Yeah.
download pages on Facebook. But no, that's my last chat on the holiday. I'll shut up about it now and stop rubbing it in. Poor Steve.
Until you can force it in next time, like I'll force in, I've run a marathon. Yeah,
Well, we both do that, though. We both do that.
all the
Um,
time.
so, no, the main topic of today's episode, but we've kind of managed to spread it out just a little bit to get to this point, is words or phrases or words and phrases that grind your gears when in a running context. Now I've got about 10 and Steve's got a good number as well. Not me, sorry. I got a response of about 10 from people. And we're
In
not
today's episode of 24 Hours with Steve.
we're gonna try and keep them so they're not we understand some of the context that they're being said, and we're going to try and keep a positive spin on some of them because they aren't meant to be moany or anything. They might come across that way, but we know the runners that they're saying it. They don't mean it to be moany, so we'll try and keep a positive spin. But do you want to do your first one first, Steve? Do you want to hit us with one?
Yeah, do
Because
you know
it's a
what?
lot of me talking today.
Yeah, one of the ones that was my one, and quite a few people popped it up, and I can't remember exactly who. So if you're listening to this and it was you, and I'm not giving you credit, I do apologise. But the
Yeah,
word just, and it's like you use that word, and for me, you downplay what you've done, but then also at the same time, you always make someone. We're not all as mentally strong as, say, myself. And when I see someone go, "Oh, I've just done this," there's context in what it is. So I've been guilty of it, and I've sort of stopped saying it. I'll talk to someone at work who also runs, um, and he goes, "Oh, you going for a run today, trainer?" I went, "Yeah, it's just a 6 miler today." Now, 6 miles is still a long way.
oh, yeah.
It is still a long way, but in the context of what you're doing in training and the load you're putting yourself through, it does feel like it's only small, but it's only small in relative to what you are doing. And I think it's exactly the same reason why on my Instagram, my posts, the like count is hidden, because I do that as I don't want other people seeing, well, why is he getting that content? I feel my content's better. I'm not getting nothing. And it can make people quite sad because they don't get the validation that they think they need. And it isn't all about likes, it's about engagement. I'd rather
Yeah.
have only 30 to 40 people consistently liking it and being engaged rather than, ghost followers. But the word just, it's stop downplaying yourself. It's like, oh, it's just. It's not.
But it depends on the context it's used. If someone types, "I've just run a 5K," that's just because they've literally just done it. But then
Yeah,
it's just a 5K. No, it's
yeah,
not just a 5K. A 5K is still more than what the guy on the couch is doing. You
yeah,
have to give yourself that positive pat on the back. You've been out. You've done it. Come on.
yeah. You can say, oh, I've just got back from my run. Yeah, it's really good. But when you're putting the word just, you're automatically downplaying what you have just achieved.
Yeah.
And you should be applauded, whether it's 1K, 10K, 50, so on and so forth. You've got out of the house. You've mentally allowed yourself to leave the warmth. You've put your trainers on. You've gone out and you've achieved something. So it annoys me a little bit because I don't want people downplaying their achievements.
Yeah, it's just having a wee think about. There's that word again. It's having a think about how you structure your wording when you do it. It's not us having a moan because we do it too. We both do it. It's, I suppose, in the same bracket, and you might have this on your list. I don't have it on mine, but I only ran 10 miles. Only? Come on. That's a long way.
Yeah, it is a long way, and it's, again, in context to that person, it might not be a long way for what their usual load is in training. That could be one of their light runs for that week.
Yeah, if
Um,
it's Kipchoge saying, I only did 10 miles today.
yeah, all right, Elliot, calm down, mate. Get back out and do 2 more miles, mate. What are you doing?
Yeah, exactly. You're going to that's the sort of person you'd be saying, "Come on, you need to be doing more. It's just 10 miles, man. You could do a lot more than that."
Yeah, yeah. So that's my first one. The word just, and doing it in a way that either is downplaying your achievement, or it's then used sometimes in a way to try and look a little bit flashy.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah,
So I didn't actually have that one. Nobody mentioned that one to me, and if they did, I'm sorry because I've missed it. My first one actually comes from Emily underscore in the outdoors. Now Emily's in my Loch Ness 24 team, and I didn't quite get the end of this because the way that Instagram stories works, it doesn't always give you the whole message back. But Harlan says how slow they are, and then they go out and knock a 7. Now I'm assuming it's a 7. It's a 7 kilometer per hour or whatever thing. It's you're saying how slow they are, and then they're going out and knocking at a fast pace. But again, that goes down to context of who the person is.
yeah,
It might be slow for their normal pace. You kind of got to look at it that way. If it's you or I is doing that though, and we say, "Oh, we're slow," and then you knock that out, we're not that. We're not. Yeah, that's around about our average, if not no, not around about our average, but you know what I mean. It's in our ballpark. But if you then got someone like Nick Bester saying it, yeah, Nick, you're not slow, but yeah, sort of, you know what I mean. It's
yeah.
context of who it is and how they're saying it.
Yeah, absolutely. And well, with regards to the types of your nicks, I think sometimes they put themselves under such pressure of accountability that when they don't quite hit it, they automatically feel like you've got to
Justifying,
find a reason to
yeah,
justify why you've not hit it. And look, that's the nature of the beast that you're in. Sometimes you put yourself out there, and then there will be people that are happy to see you fail. And you only think of those people where there are 100 more people that will go, well, you still done amazing, mate.
yeah,
You've still done
exactly.
an amazing job. So for one, let me pick my words very carefully. For one silly person, and that's very dialed down for me. For one silly person, there are 20 that are clapping for you.
Yeah, and I mean that's the same though. So Giz had a very similar comment. Giz on the run, and again she's in the team. Her one says, "I'm not that fast," and then runs 17 minutes and 17-minute 5 kilometer with an eye roll emoji, and that's exactly it. It's these are the silly people that I'm not that fast, but 17 minutes in a 5k is incredibly fast.
Insanely fast. I mean, I'm trying to think of how I'm going to cross over at sub 20, and then I see like someone's gone and done a 15-minute park run. I'm like, you're an absolute machine.
Yeah, yeah. I think from the outfit he was wearing though, it's a European. That was a European record he did. It looked like the best athletics jersey, but I couldn't really see because the photo that I saw of him, he was in shade, so I wasn't quite sure if it was or not.
Yeah, I'm not too sure because I know you can purchase the vests and not be a member of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, you
So
mean yeah, it's like buying a football top
yeah,
and not being a player.
yes, yeah,
But no, it's uh, the not that fast. These people are saying that because they're looking for the likes. They're looking for they're doing the heartstring kind of little violin. That's why they're doing it. That's why they're saying it.
yeah. And look, if that helps you, that helps you. But you just need to know that that is fast. It's not
Yeah.
as fast as you want to go. You
Oh,
want to go faster, and that's perfectly fine. We all have different levels, whether it's in work or in running. We all have different ambitions and what is good enough for us. But I think it's if you're going to put it out on the forum, especially with mental health in 2023, it's you play your part much bigger than you think. So you can
yeah.
say you didn't quite go my way today, but I got A. And I think there's a more positive spin on that.
But that's it goes again. It goes to context. That person saying I'm not that fast. It's when compared to other people like Kipchoge.
Yeah, yeah, it's sub 2 hour marathon, man.
Yeah, come on, come on. What's your next one?
So my next one is, and to be fair, I've only come across this on Twitter. I don't really see it on Instagram, but I follow UK Run Chat on Twitter. And you get people saying, all you lot need to remember, park run is not a race. And I'm like, oh,
I've never seen
it's
that before.
yeah. So there's, and it only happens on Twitter. It's more of a more of a Twitter community thing rather than an Instagram community thing. But there, and I've seen it personally at Victoria Dock Park Run, where I heard someone at the beginning going, "Oh, that person's coming again. It's like a race to them." And I was like, "Well, actually, park run is what you want to make of it. It's your social chat. It's just to be around other people. For some of us, it is a time trial. Yeah, you don't get a medal at the end, and you don't. No one. You don't get one individual winning park run. Everyone wins at park run
Yeah.
because it's super social, but for some people, it is a time trial.
But
And I think we just need to allow everyone to enjoy it for what it is. It's their run.
I think the people that are saying that, though, and I don't know how many people are saying it, but I think they're wrong. Now, again, I could be wrong in what I'm saying here, but if I'm correct, English athletics might be different. I am pretty sure that Scottish athletics class the times that runners get, the elite runners at parkrun, because it's a timed event, and sure, it's not going down to the precise little millisecond. But one of our elite local runners, he rejects times at parkrun if someone's obstructed him or there's been a dog, or he rejects his times because Scottish athletics allow you to submit those times as official times for qualifying in events.
Yeah.
So it's a race.
Yeah. So like exactly like I said, the park run is to each individual something different.
Yeah, but
So
it's a race for one person. You're not racing against anyone. You're racing against yourself.
No, you're racing yourself. Yeah. So it's just that one thing of like parkrun is very inclusive and it's meant to be inclusive. So let's just not. It's just don't make people feel like they're not wanted there. It's you do you and let someone else do them. So I mean, it's only because I heard it in person, and then the very same day I heard it on. I saw it on Twitter. And I thought, hang about, what are we doing here?
I am so glad I've not heard that in person, because that would be, not to get ranty just now, but I'd be ranting at the person. Come on, it's your own little book. It's what you make of it, and that's where the great thing about the new thing with the park walk, and it is inclusive to everyone, whether you're walking it, whether you're jogging it, whether you're push and pram, whether you've got your dog, whether you're an elite runner. It's for everyone, and now in some places, It's for kids on a Sunday as well.
Oh, amazing! I love that. Oh, that's amazing. Because I was actually listening to, I think it was a press play,
yeah,
and run, when they said when you're in school, you're never taught how to run. It's quite right. There's 100 meters, bang, run really fast.
Yeah.
And I was like, that is so true. And it's actually had me thinking of trying to do some sort of course relevant to get some qualifications, and try, and even if it's at my daughter's school, to say, hey, do you mind if I come in and try and teach little kids how to run properly rather than just scattergun approach? But that's another topic for another time.
Well, funny enough you say that. We can touch on it another time, but the local park run directors, they're fantastic ladies. They actually run an active schools session on a Sunday, because we don't have a kids park run yet, because it's a lot of effort that they go to in the first place to week on week out put on a park run. But they do an active school session on a Sunday where it's secondary school kids, but it's from all ages. They get out and they teach them, this is how you're doing. And these are fantastic young runners now. They're part of local clubs, and they're absolutely smashing victories left, right, and centre.
I'd love to see. I'd love to see. Although I'm not going to advocate for my daughter to go and beat my PB like Ryan. Because I listened to that and I got annoyed for him.
I mean, come on,
I got annoyed for him.
But then, being the dad who has to drive them to park run, he did it the next week and just said, "No, I'm not taking you this week. Sorry, son."
Yeah. Serious dad energy going on.
Serious dad energy. Right. So my next one comes from our good friend Emma, Lipstick and Trainers. And she's not going to want to look at my feed today or in my stories, because her one wasn't heading out for a PB, but it just happened when clearly they were. Now, I had to justify myself here and say I wasn't heading out for a PB. I put on the Hokas and I just went out a little bit too quick because I am rubbish at pacing myself. And when I got to like 2K and I was smashing out, like, what was it? The first one was a 4:15 and then it was like a 4:25. I thought, you know what? Let's put my foot down. Let's see what I can get with a 5K. And I got to like 5K and it was like 22 minutes or around about 20. Not 20. Of course, I didn't get 22. It was a 22:14 at the 5K. I thought, you know what? I'm feeling great. The legs are great. Let's try get a 10K PB. And yes, I didn't head out for a PB. It just happened. No, I didn't head out for PB, but I then changed my plan while I was out there. But there are people that go out and they like to say, oh, I didn't go out for PB, but I did. It did just happen. It suddenly crept up on me. Nah, your Garmin's telling you what's happening. You went out for a PB.
Absolutely. And listen, I saw your post and I almost messaged you going, oh, you've gone, I wasn't planning. Oh, Emma's going to kill you, my friend.
I hope she doesn't look at the story. I mean, I was going to own up to her. Don't, yeah, come on. I was going to say to her, don't look at my stories because she will be raging. She'll be ripping. Oh, yeah, she'll love it. She will be. She's one of our biggest supporters. So she will be well happy, but underneath she'll be boiling a little bit.
I have done that where I go out. It's a speed session, so in my mind there is speed is going to happen, and I look at my Garmin and go, hang on, should I keep pushing the speed? Shall I go against plan and see what we can do? I've done it before, so I know what you mean.
Yeah, but it's like that one. You are listening to your body, and if you're in that area where you can push for a PB, and it's going to elevate your self belief and your achievement, go for it. If it's going to help tick all the boxes and help you ride a positivity wave, go for it. Just be very careful about how you put it in your Instagram chat after.
Absolutely. I think I've only ever gone to 2 races with the want to hit a PB, and they were both in the last block of London Marathon last year because it was sort of a gauge to see where I was at. And I thought to myself, if I don't hit it, I don't hit it. I just know I've got to train a bit harder. But I managed to get it. I think the vitality was a 44, 41, 10K, and then big half was a 138. So I thought, yeah, I'm in a good place. But if I wouldn't hit it, I wouldn't have made an excuse. No, exactly. This happened, and my neighbour's dog was barking at 2 a.m. and so on and so forth. But yeah,
I will
when you know that it's clearly gone out and smashed it.
Yeah, well, that's another person actually said something very similar, and I know how to pronounce her name properly this time. I shouted her out as always being in my inbox. She quickly let me know that I pronounced her name wrong. I'd said her name was peta.n.c. Her name is Pita, as in like the bread. Pita.n.c. She's actually at the half this weekend as well, so fingers crossed I'll get to meet her. But her one wasn't feeling great today, then grabs a PB. Very similar vein to what Emma said.
Yeah, and you know what? I think there's 2 sides to that, because I had massive paranoia before London, and it started making me not feel too good. And I remember having loads of chats with Craig, the runner, through it, because he was notorious for paranoia, and then he goes out and knocks out, I think it's a 2:49 or something. I think so. Sometimes your mind playing tricks on you.
Definitely.
So yeah. It depends. It depends on whether you say it was paranoia or I wasn't feeling great, but I got into it and I just absolutely aced it.
Yeah, no, because the head is your biggest supporter, but also your biggest enemy.
Absolutely.
Right, it's up. You're up again.
Yeah. So my third one, is it third one? I can't count. It's my third one.
It's your third one. Yeah.
It's not something that is said. It's something that isn't said, and that is people that are on a run and you run past someone and you wave at them and they just ignore you like you're not even there, and it fills you with rage and your heart rate goes up to about 170 on an easy run, and you're like, yeah. So
do you know who said that to you?
I'm so useless. I can't.
Right, because I had one that's
Oh,
exactly the same, and I just want to make sure it's not the same person. But a Scottish underscore runner, which is Ryan from the Press Play and Run, he said the exact same thing. Runners that don't reciprocate or acknowledge when you say hello, good morning, or nod at them, he hopes their shoelaces forever come undone.
yeah, you've overrun him, and now the tongue just sticks out all the time. No, it wasn't Ryan. I can't remember who it was, but I was like, no, that is true. That is true.
I mean, there are runners that will see you and they'll be glaring at it. It's like the reels you see where you're out for an easy jog and someone passes you and then you get the rev up and you're like, nah, I'm not standing for this, and you race them. But then I have a lot of experience locally where I'll be out for a run and I'll approach someone who's it could be a young lady or someone who's less confident than I am, and they put their head down or they have their earphones in, and it's context of who it is. I've changed directions, so I'm not following someone in the past, but they're not as confident. If you say hello or something, they're not going to want to engage with you, just in case you are one of those creepy guys that are chasing them. That's totally understandable.
Yeah, absolutely. And there are a couple of people I've recognised on that route because being a local legend and whatnot. So I see, I see him a fair few times. The same runners around the same time of day. So it's almost like it's now gone from just a wave and an acknowledgement. It's now sort of more like words are not spoken really, but it's more of a softer smile.
Yeah, an unspoken bond that you're doing is now. I have the same. It's not running related, but I drive to or used to drive to work every day before COVID. You would see the same drivers, and you would occasionally they would give you a wee wave or a wee nod because you'd be seeing them passing every morning, every night. You'd be changing, like passing each other on your daily commute.
Yeah, I mean, I hardly see. I leave for work about 4 in the morning every day, so I see no one at all.
That's because you're a vampire, though.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm screwed in
um,
the summer.
well, that brings me on to Chris runs a lap, chris.runs.a.lap, and he only said 5 a.m. Now, I didn't ask him for a justification of why it was just 5 a.m., but I would like to take a kind of an estimated guess here. It's people who run at 5 a.m. while
Guilty,
we're all in bed.
guilty. I had done that in my last marathon block. The missus hated it. I was getting up at like 5, 6, and I thought, well, if I get it done, I've got the rest of the day, and I don't do it this time around. I enjoy a little bit more sleep, and
Yeah,
then
get your
do it
rest
about
in. Yeah.
10, 11 o'clock, and I feel my running's benefited from that. But yeah, listen, I enjoyed it, especially during the summer months. You set off, it's dark, and then you loop out 9 miles, and I was coming back, and the shops are starting to open. The sun's coming up. You see the walk of shame. It's brilliant.
You're painting a lovely picture of like what would be a lottery advert or something. Someone happily, jovially walking down the street, nodding at all the people opening the news agents and the shops. I know why people do it because I have a lot of people I follow that do it, and it's either to do with work or it's because it is quiet. They don't have to deal with other runners, and
Yeah,
it's a quiet time, or they
the,
just happen to be in bed early and they get up early. I mean, it's a good
yeah,
time to do it.
the pavements are empty. There's not many cars in the road. I mean, when I was doing the early runs, I would specifically go down towards London, and the sun comes up over the skyline. So it's a nice
Yeah,
little vision. But this time around, I've much more enjoyed sort of waking up around about 7 with my daughter, and having something to eat a good couple of hours before, and just feeling rested before going.
I'm kind of agreeing with Chris here. I'm not a 5 a.m.er. Although I'm going to bring it up. I said I wouldn't. While I was on holiday, my runs were at 6:30 in the morning, but that's because of the heat and also the 4 hour time difference in the UK. So it was like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10 a.m. in the morning for me in my head, in my body. So that's different. But yeah, I see people. I'm like, how can you even be up at 5 in the morning? I've only just gone to my bed.
Oh, mate, brilliant.
Right.
Absolutely brilliant.
Batting it back to you. What's your next one?
I'm trying to think. So I 4 and I've done 3. And now I'm trying to remember what the actual fourth one was. This is great production, guys.
Right, you've had a couple of minutes. For context for anyone listening, we're recorded on Zoom, so you only get so many minutes if you're not a subscriber or a sub to their payment plan. So Steve's had a minute or so to think about this fourth one. Have you got it?
I did literally as soon as we locked off to come back on again. I was like, that's what it was. It is when people claim to have not done a single strength and conditioning session during a whole marathon block and never got injured, and they're like, you're either lying or you're superhuman, or you're in denial. Because I could sympathise with this one because you know, I put down some of my experiences at London Marathon down to the lack of strength and conditioning. Also, that I broke the rule of nothing new on race day. Mm-hmm. So that was a schoolboy error. But yeah, for people to say they've done no strength and conditioning, it's either you're amazingly gifted or you just don't want to admit that you're too lazy for it.
No, definitely too late. I think there's a lot of people like myself that are too lazy.
It does take a lot of time out. But the thing is, you can do it at home with like a HIIT workout on from YouTube on your telly. You can, I go once a week on a Wednesday, do a 45-minute to 50-minute session in the gym, and then some nice stretching and whatnot at home during the week. But it's elevated my running to such a level that I can't imagine that these people that are running sort of 5-minute miles are not doing any form of strength and conditioning, because you're putting a load right through the body.
Definitely, but again, it goes to context of what they classify as strength and conditioning.
Yeah, I guess there is that. I mean, I thought it was pretty self-explanatory.
I know, I'm the same, but there are people out there. If you're doing a bit of stretch, now this comes up because I was having this chat with one of my friends. He's not into fitness or running or anything. I said about getting back into the summer house, getting the weights going, getting the squats on a go again, strength and conditioning, a bit of stretching, a bit of band work, and he said, "But is that strength and conditioning for running?" I'm like, yeah, just as like strength and conditioning for weightlifters and anyone that's doing like the pure strength, running is strength and conditioning for them, because it's a kind of flip flop. We need weights and stretching to help as a runner, but someone doing weights all the time needs a little bit of cardio, so they don't get a bit stiff in what they're doing.
Yeah, one of my friends, he's been in fitness for his whole life. He was a boxer and then turned fitness model. So I see that he absolutely hates doing the cardio, but he knows he's got to get the look he wants to. So I guess it does have its context, but I think it was more in a sense of, you've run a marathon, so you must have done some strength conditioning somewhere.
Yeah. But some people don't classify stretching as like conditioning, or they class it as recovery, which it kind of is recovery, but it is also conditioning.
Yeah, I don't think I could go through ever go through a block again and just being so lackadaisical about strength and conditioning.
Yeah, now I'm the same. I'm going to be honest here. Over the winter months, I've been lazy with my strength and conditioning. That's why the plan is hit the summer house again, get back on it. I do, however, stretch more regularly than I used to. I don't stretch before I run, because I always found that injured me. And one of the local running coaches did say, and that's her thing, is don't stretch before a run, stretch after a run once you're warmed up.
No, I don't either. I sort of, before my run, I'll do some drills, and that'll be it, and then I'll get straight into it.
You've been watching the Kenyans and Ethiopians do their old drills, haven't you?
Not so effortlessly. You should see me do it. I've got the rhythm of a wooden stick.
Head over toe.
But yeah, that's
your 4.
That's
right.
my 4 main ones.
So I've got a couple more. This one comes from my cousin, and I did touch on it, and she noticed she got a shout out, and I can't remember which episode it was now. I didn't say her name, but she did get a shout out. This is Jems Crawford, and she is a fantastic runner as well. She's like one of the driving forces for me running, and I touched on that before, but she's out so much. She blasts kilometers every day. I don't know how she does it, like day in day out. But then I do gaming and crafting and photography. I do all these hobbies. Running is her hobby, but her one is people talking in kilometers instead of miles. It really expletive her off. And I get that. We've talked about this already. And I am one of the people that uses kilometers instead of miles. Or in my Instagram descriptions, I use both just to confuse people.
I can't get my head around it. I mean, I know that listen to some people. I heard someone say, "Oh yeah, I have my watch in miles, but my alerts in kilometers." I'm like, what is going on?
Who
How how
now?
do you do this?
Who is that? I know who that is. Or they have it
That was
announced
I
at
think that was
both
on
of them.
press. Was that on press play and run?
Now, yeah, so Ryan has something similar. It might be that, but I'm pretty sure one of our listeners and one of his listeners, Nikki. I'm sure Nikki does the same. Yeah,
It's
quite
it's not. I can't
possibly.
deal with that level of complication. It just blows my tiny little mind. I'm like, oh, I'm finished. Wait, that's only a kilometer. What are you talking about?
See, I'm going to justify myself when I say I do it in kilometers. We talked about this before. As I say, I do it because I like hearing the beat more often. But at the same time, we're one of the really odd countries that uses miles. Everyone else uses kilometers. So I'm just embracing the world.
Yeah, I'm just going to stick to what I know. 'Cause I'm stubborn. I'm not having it.
Right. So on to my next one, which is Stuart runs a lot. And he said a quick run. Now, again, I didn't ask him for kind of a descriptor or what he meant by a quick run. I think it must be someone that's just gone out for, I've just gone out and done a quick run. Yeah, I don't do that myself. I don't use that terminology. It might be a quick run, but every run it takes its time, no matter if it is a 17-minute 5K or what. You're still taking time. It's not just a quick run.
Yeah, I think again, it's one of those context ones, isn't it?
Yeah,
Where, say, for example, if you are work from home and on your lunch break, you think, right, I'm going to go for a 10-15 minute run. Technically, it's a quick run.
yeah,
Again, it needs context, I guess, but I know I understand it. I mean, it's it's not something I've ever thought. What was he saying that for? But I can understand what they mean. But yeah, I guess it really need context of did you mean to go for a quick timed run or you've
yeah,
not
yeah,
got much
yeah.
time, so you're going to go out for a quick run?
Now, see, anyone that has said, as you said, these sorts of things, if we're getting it wrong and we haven't asked you what you're meaning, let us know in the comments. Let us know on email, and we will do an apology next time. But that kind of does also go into. I'm looking down my list at running short stuff. She's got a gentle plod. Now I think this is the same what Stuart's meaning. A quick run. She's got gentle plod as someone's run description when their pace was 10 times faster than her sprint.
Context,
Yeah,
I guess.
it is
Again, you
context.
if you was anyone listen to this, Google Eliud Kipchoge's recovery run and look at his pace, and you'll hate him forever. That's all I'm saying. I'm not going to say what it is. Pop yourself on there, have a look at what he classes as his easy run. Oh, it makes you want to cry and give up the sport completely. I bet you have an absolute giraffe, my friend.
Now, this is my last one, and I've saved this one to last for a reason.
Mhm.
And it is your friend, your UG buddy, and
My
it's
Ugg Stella buddy.
your UG Stella buddy. It's
Yes,
Craig the runner, and he said Portaloo. And I
that's it.
asked him he just said just Portaloo, and I did ask him what specifically do you mean for Portaloo, and he went everything about it, anything related to
Everything.
running and Portaloos.
You know what? I don't know what it's like in at Scottish events, but when I've done the Vitality, it was carnage. Oh, there was nowhere near enough. People need to know how to aim. Um, it's just they are carnage. I mean, London Marathon was it was better. It was better set up. It was far better. But I can get what he means by Portaloos in general are just awful. I mean, I went to a music festival, V Festival. It's down
Oh no,
down
I know what
south.
you're gonna say.
Right, right. And they literally have portaloos. They have troughs in the open. It's literally just like this one massive circle, and you just stand next to some fella who's off his nut, and you
Yeah.
just
Now, the Loch Ness 24 had them as well. They did have them behind the Portaloos and then behind Harris fencing, Harris panels. But they're so much better for guys to go and use that instead of going into a Portaloo because, like, come on, we're both married. We both know that our wives, daughters. You need to realize you need to clean up after yourself because come on, don't just go to a festival, a running festival, an event, and then like cover the seat and then walk away. Come on, that's not good. That's not on, guys. Clear yourself up. But on the flip side, women are just as bad. And I only know that because I worked in a restaurant and I had to clean the toilets.
you know what? I worked at a cinema chain for 8 years, and the women's toilets were always the worst. Honestly, it was carnage in there. Um, so yeah, but in Portaloos, I'm with him. They are disgusting. They stink.
But I thought you were going to
People,
say the music festival. Now, again, I don't really do festivals or anything. I'm more of the small, intimate concert sort of hipster vibey guy. But my wife had gone to what used to be Tea in the Park, and now if you have a squeamish nature, mute for the next 10 seconds. But she said the toilets were piled high out the top of the seat.
mate, honestly, I've seen some things. I was actually once when I was at these lads thought it'd be funny when their friend goes into it, they toppled it over, and he just come out, and I was like, just go home. Portaloos are criminal.
But
They're absolute
you're
criminal.
of the same age as me, where they would have been looking at things like as
Jackass.
Yeah, that's it,
Yeah.
Jackass. They would have been
Steve
looking at
Owen.
Jackass.
Wee Man. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. But it was still funny.
Oh, Portaloos, no, I'm not a big fan of them. Thankfully, the Loch Ness 24 guys, they had someone cleaning them 24 hours a day. They were spotless. The majority of people, I can't actually think of anyone leaving a mess. They were spot on. But when you get to a marathon or you get to 10K and it's a big event, it's a horror show. It is an
Yeah.
absolute horror show.
Just very quickly going back to your one who said someone's gone for a gentle plod. I've been guilty. I can't lie. I've spoken to Craig, and I've gone. I'm just bopping, and I'm bopping along at like sort of 8 minutes 30. I'm just bopping, going for a gentle bop. But yeah, I can see why that would annoy someone. Going, what do you mean you're going for a plod? You are literally going faster than I could even go.
Yeah, no, again, it is contextually.
Yeah,
It goes hand in hand with the easy runners, people not running easy, the gentle plodders, and then it's a really fast. It goes down to what you believe as your pace. It's a plod for you, but it's not a plod for someone else.
absolutely.
And that's me. So just to go run through my ones again, I had Emily in the outdoors. I had Emma lipstick and trainers. I had Giz on the run. Chris runs a lap. Gems, Peter, Stuart, running short stuff. Craig and Ryan, the Scottish runner. I think I've covered them all. So thanks very much, guys, for giving us your feedback, your comments on topics and phrases that grind your gears. Now, if there's anyone wants to add anything to that, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the emails. Let us know any way you want to let us know, and we'll maybe touch on this again in a later episode.
Yes, yes. I was very useless and didn't remember who sent me what. I do apologise. I'm very poor with admin.
I am that OCD. I think this is the same thing as it. The poll that I put up on my own page about I folded everything, all my dirty clothes, and I stuck them in a suitcase, and the majority of people said, "Nah, come on, that's not on." And a very small, it was like 5 people said, "That's 100%. We're behind you." I'm OCD like that, and I had to
I
write
voted
everything
against
down.
that.
You did. I saw that. I mean,
Mm.
I'm gonna say here, and this is gonna come out of Grump. If anyone's listening that said no to that, and you claim you're OCD, you're not OCD. I mean, I could not have folded my clothes to put it back in. Everything has a place. It's like Tetris. It's like Tetris in my suitcase.
No, I
But I
just
don't
chuck it all
contain
in, hope for the best.
And then when you're that one that comes out on the belt and it's burst everywhere. Oh, okay. So what have we got before we finish off? We've still got the talking about
Community chat.
the community and the love that people have been showing for the podcast so far. Now, unlike the words and phrases, I didn't write anyone's names down, but and I don't know about Steve, but I'm assuming he's been getting a lot of love as well because the main page, which Steve doesn't have access to, and we'll have to sort that out so we can get more content up on the Insta page. But my own DMs and the page DMs have been awash with just so much feedback on how enjoyable people are finding our what was initially chaos. And this one's not so bad, and the last one wasn't so bad, but the kind of easygoing vibe nature of it. We're not trying too hard. We're just going with the flow, and that's what I think people want out of their conversations sometimes.
Yeah, I've had the same. I've had, I mentioned it to you the other day when I was messaging you. I've got a strong Scottish following now, so we're uniting the nation. We are uniting the
That's
nation.
it. That's it. And we've had this
It's
discussion before. We need to find a Welsh Steve. That's the other thing we need to do.
right. Well, my sister lives in Wales, so I'm going to give her a task to find a running person called Steve in Wales. So we can really, and then we've just got to find an Irish, and we've
That's
united.
true. Sorry, that's true. We do.
We've
Yes.
done. Yeah, shout out to the Irish. No, but I was particularly pleased because that was the one that I saw that I put together. So I was a bit nervous, like, oh, how's this going to come across? But it was some good feedback. So
Oh, fantastic! No,
thanks for that.
the stats on all three of the episodes so far, plus the bonus episode, they're fairly similar. The downloads we're getting on it. And again, Steve doesn't see these sorts of things because I haven't given him access, even though it's the same password. So we'll sort that out for him. But we've got listeners all around the world, mostly in the Americas and in the United Kingdom, in Europe as well. But we've got some in the sort of Egypty, Saudi sort of area, and I'm guessing they're like expats. But it's been really nice seeing people around the world listening. We've got Australians as well. So, but I think the biggest compliment I got was, "Can we make it a weekly podcast?"
Yeah,
And I
that was
think
from Laura Hardcastle.
was it? See, that's I see. That's such a great compliment that people want to hear us more often.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm the same with press play and run. I'm like, oh, I'm going to go for my long run. I'm going to listen to press play and run. I went, no, Knox is bi-weekly, and I listened to it last week.
Yeah.
You loser.
Now, I think Ryan's got enough content, whereas he could probably swing it weekly. And I guess because our plan is to go into having guests on, we just wanted to kind of find our feet and find our rhythm as well. And we might not have guests on for every episode, but we have got people that are interested in coming on. We've already started putting the feelers out, and we've had other people getting in contact. But um, it's such a massive boost to the confidence. And I actually have just thought I have missed something in the grinding gears because one of the people I've just looked at on my community shoutouts, he has had so much good complimentary comments about how the podcast is going. And yeah, we're only on episode 4, but it's so nice. It's so reassuring to kind of to feel the radiance that everyone's been putting off for us.
Yeah, no, it's been amazing. So I do appreciate the feedback, and like yourself, it's been the fact that we're just there's a sort of structure to it, but we're just going off of that completely, and just it's real conversation between real people rather than just trying to be this polished PR machine.
Yeah, and not that we're knocking anyone that is a polished PR
No, of
machine.
course not.
There's an avenue for everything, but I
Absolutely.
think there is a lack to natural conversations like you get from Ryan and like you get from the What the Fartlick. But I do find some of them are just it's like listening to a late night quiz show, not like a quiz show, late night interview show, where it's just hard hitting questions and highbrow like answers.
Yeah, no highbrow. Tell me about the time you really pooped yourself on a run. Come on.
But I'll go. So I'll do my community shout outs first, though. And just because I did miss him in the grinding gears, but now I'm seeing it. There's a reason why I missed it because I didn't actually add him to that list. So I've got 3 today. So I don't know if you have 2 or you have 3, Steve, or whether you did what I did last time and reel a list off as long as your arm. But the people that have been in my inbox and been my big supporters since we last had a recording, and it's possibly just because it's off the back of the podcast. I've had 2 Americans and one Scotsman. But the first person I missed out is a Patrick Watkins. Now that's his handle is pwatkins_13. Now Pat is a blogger of his journey, and he actually sent me the blog that he wrote about things that grind his gears, kind of gripes that he has. And they're very, very similar, actually. They're probably duplicates of what we've said, so I won't say any in particular. But if you want a good blog to read, if you're a blog reader, runpatrun.com. Give that a go. It's almost like a running diary, like Steve was talking about previously. He covers what his thoughts were on his runs. He covers some of the topics, and he covers how his runs have gone. It's just nice to see to the point, on the level comments and on how someone's journey is going. So he's my first, and he is constant. He likes my stories. You see the love heart coming up of my story marks. He leaves me comments. He just checks in. It's really good. I also have the second American is TJ. I actually don't know her name, but her handle is I run for shirts and medals. And TJ is, again, she likes a lot of my content. She's in the inbox. We have a good old chat. And just make sure that we're vibing, that we're all good. So that is, again, it's great to see. It's fantastic to have someone in your corner. And then finally, I meant to shout him out last time, is Stuart. Stuart runs a lot. He is one of those guys that has your back, is liking your content, is sharing your content. He's been a big advocate for the podcast. He is a listener. So those are my 3. I can't thank these guys enough for being there. So yeah, please stick at it, and hopefully you'll find that I'm the same to you guys.
Very good. I think I do. I follow them 3 people already. Yeah, they are great people. When you mentioned, I was like, I follow that person. I follow that one. Oh, there's no one new for me to follow today. Okay. So I've got 3. One chap called Ed. Ed, right? His handle is Ed_Dubs. He's an absolute trail running machine, and he keeps it real, and he's one of those ones that he does everything, or authentic over the fakeness. He's literally down to earth bloke like myself. So he's my first one. Second one, there's a chap called Grant Gerard, the _village_runner. Again, likes everything. I'll pop up my run and he'll say how amazing, you've done great. Your training to go, your pace looks perfect. It's consistent. So it's like the little person in your ear that is confirming what you know. But it's nice to see it from another runner, if that makes sense. And the third person is a chap called Steve, of course. I've got to get Steve in there, another one. His name is Steve Day. So Steve runs LDN. And he's actually someone I'd want to get on the podcast when we start doing guests, because I met him on the day of the London Marathon. I noticed that he was wearing the red wave like me, and I said, "Do you mind if I follow you?" And he'd come through. He's like, "Yeah, come with me. Let's do this." Da, 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 da. And he's a really nice guy, and he now does like little pacing for tracksmiths. He's massive on getting people into running clubs, so he's definitely someone that I would recommend following. Great vibes, great bloke. So they're my three for this week.
No, I would echo that. I followed two of them, and I now follow the third because I did it while you were saying his name. But I follow Steve, and he does. I think I'm correct in thinking he does really good videos on actual live runs. He chats about how his run's going, and his content is really good. And yeah, just looking at his main post just now, he is big into his groups and club running and just sharing the vibes with other people. And such a smiley, happy guy as well. And yeah, we don't always just want to see smiles and happiness, but it just looks like a top notch guy. And I do watch some of his videos and reels. And he's honest about his content. But yeah, he's been a big advocate for the podcast as well, and on the main page. I've also seen Ed. Ed's been a great advocate for not only myself but also the podcast. But I think the one with the village runner, Grant Jared, I hadn't knowingly seen him before, so I've added him. So yeah, that's share some love there, share some love back.
Absolutely.
But unless there's anything else I've forgotten about.
Oh, I think we've that's a wrap on that one. I think we've covered all we wanted to. I think we've longer than the normal ones, but it's just nice free flowing conversation. I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's a bit of a monster, this one. But it's simply because we haven't recorded in so long. The first few episodes were quite long. They were over the hour mark. The third one, we were just on the hour mark. But that was the comments that we had from some people where number 3 seemed like it was a lot more natural. We weren't seemingly kind of holding ourselves up or reading off a script or anything. It was just a natural conversation. But that's the thing. Me and Steve hadn't really spoken before the first episode. We'd left voice notes and stuff, but we've never met. We've never had that natural kind of ability to kind of converse before. So it's the first few were us kind of finding our feet and finding the vibe with each other. So yeah, long may this continue. The freedom to express ourselves and be what people want to hear.
Spot on. That's exactly it.
But I think we'll just call it there. We'll have to have a think about what we're going to do in the next episode, because we are getting to that point. I was thinking, I don't know what Steve thinks about this, of how many episodes we have in the first series. And I think 8 is maybe a good number. Before we start getting guests on, there's always going to be stuff that we can think about. Steve's got his marathon, and I want to put more focus and emphasis on that, and get people backing you guys, backing anyone doing the London Marathon, but especially backing you, Steve. So I think 8 episodes would be quite good, because it lets your marathon get you to your marathon, and then the chat afterwards, and then we can take a little bit of a break and then start getting some guests on. But episode 5 will be the 24th of March. So we'll have a little bit of a think about what we're going to record. And even if you want to suggest something, we've got plenty of time then. Let us know what you want to hear us talking about. And yeah, we'll possibly just do that.
Sounds good to me. I think we've discussed that before about doing the 8 and then some guests. So that's our next avenue to take it down.
Yeah, exactly. But until the next episode, we hope that your runs are everything you hope they will be. If they're not, it's not the end of the world. Keep your head up. Listen to our podcast. If you're needing that kick up the backside, if you're needing the positivity and vibes, get in our DMs. Just rely on us to give you that boost of confidence and the boost to your mood, and just energize.
Yeah, just thanks everyone for the good comments, mate. It's been great.
I'm glad you said that, because I ran out of things to say. So until next time, guys. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you're loving the podcast. Keep on letting us know what you're thinking, and we will hear from you soon, I suppose, or you will hear from us soon.
Absolutely. I mean, like I said again, thanks for listening. And yeah, we hope you keep enjoying it. Stick with us.
And that's a wrap.